All right, ladies and gentlemen, Christopher Green, AMTV, hard-hitting and in your face, major breaking news. I want you to stay on your toes. I'm not saying that this is going to happen on Christmas Eve. I'm saying be on the lookout for it because we've seen other major draconian events like this take place in the past, whether or not it's the outbreak of geopolitical conflict, it is world wars, it is the Federal Reserve System being established December 23rd, just a day prior to Christmas Eve. In 1913, we see economic chaos, usually when people are not paying attention, when they've taken their eye off the ball, when they don't realize something big is about to happen. And now this. The media is suggesting that Russia may be, quote, plotting a Christmas Eve invasion of Ukraine with hundreds of thousands of troops already having amassed on its border. Now, this would result in a regional global conflict, a world war, according to experts. Both the Ministry of Defense and the Foreign Office refused to comment on what action the UK might take in the event of an invasion by Russia, which is looking likely. This is going to happen, whether or not it's early January, which the mainstream media has reported on, or it is Christmas Eve. Intelligence chiefs have warned ministers of a, quote, very real possibility Russia could invade Ukraine on Christmas Eve. Of course, Putin does not want them to become part of NATO, does not want weapons aimed at Russia, wants to reclaim a lot of territory lost with the collapse of the former USSR, Soviet Union. We are arguably in a new Cold War right now, ladies and gentlemen. This is very, very serious. Up to 100,000 Russian troops are now amassed on the border, potentially for this invasion on Christmas Eve. Both the Ministry of Defense and the Foreign Office refused to comment on what action the UK might take in the event of a Russian invasion. Now, according to a gentleman by the name of Colonel Richard Kemp, a former commander in Afghanistan, said, there is no possibility, quote, of direct military intervention by the UK, NATO, or the US in the event of a Russian attack against Ukraine. Then the story continues. The most likely option would be diplomatic economic sanctions. However, if this does not happen, the invasion force, which would consist of thousands of ground troops, tanks, attack helicopters, could see other type of technological warfare in our skies, EMP, electromagnetic pulses. We could see other countries chime in on this, artillery and anti-aircraft regiments. Both the UK and the US having warned Vladimir Putin and said he would face serious consequences if he makes any of these moves. Now, again, this would spark a larger regional conflict. He was asked what this would mean. He said it is likely and highly unlikely anyone is going to send troops into Ukraine to challenge Russia, I guess referring to the Biden administration, meaning what are we waiting for this to happen? Vladimir Putin's dream of reclaiming the territory that once belonged to the USSR is almost certainly sure to end in military conflict. And with U.S. forces sworn to support Ukraine, a superpower standoff seems almost inevitable. This would lead, in my opinion, this is my opinion, undoubtedly to a world war type event. Very, very serious. Now, Biden is coming with some kind of decree tomorrow. I don't know if this is going to be domestic travel restrictions or what he has up his sleeve. He is actually receiving a lot of criticism, which I believe he should, because if it's this serious, if there's a huge breakout, why wait till Tuesday, man? You should be talking right now. If this is really serious, why wait until Tuesday? That makes no sense. So I have this feeling, and I hope I'm wrong about it, but there's going to be some major restrictions announced, and it could affect domestic interstate travel. As we see we see states like Florida basically going their own way, Texas doing their own thing, Idaho, Arizona, and we are getting a lot of messaging, as I spoke with you on the beach today, about conflict, about potential scenarios that could happen in 2024, which are very, very alarming. So the point of this video, I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm not saying there's a Christmas Eve invasion. I'm saying the mainstream media is telling you there's a possibility of it. What I am saying, however, and this is my opinion, that something big could happen in and around Christmas, New Year, New Year's Eve, when you're enjoying that nice dinner with your family. Typically, that's when crap hits the fan, when you're not paying attention. Look over here while they do this over here. So I want to hear your thoughts, want to hear your comments. When asked directly if a Russian invasion could lead to a new world war, Luputina, if I'm saying his name correctly, said, yeah, because geopolitically, it looks like this is a possible scenario. So we should pay attention to the Ukrainian issue because of the security of the entire continent. There's a lot of natural gas pipelines, of course, coming out into Russia. We see China, which is pivoted as a friend and key ally of Russia, saying it would get involved if the United States did anything. Biden's saying he's not sending troops. We even had a senator, I reported on this, right, just a couple of days ago, who suggested there could be, and Biden should keep this on the table, a preemptive military nuclear strike. I'm paraphrasing a bit, but that's basically what he said. So what do you guys think? Are we being teed up for the biggest, most giant economic collapse that we've ever seen, a geopolitical world war, as we enter year 3 of the health event? 2 weeks flatten the curve? No, we're moving into year 3, guys. And this is absolutely insane. And again,
as we see Russian forces massing on the Ukrainian border, can we be reminded that Russia is also continuing cyber attacks, attempted assassinations, using gas as a political weapon, holding illegally territory in the Crimea, in Georgia, intimidating the West, and interfering in Western elections? How much does the government understand that President Putin is conducting a hybrid war against the West, and how is the government responding to it?
Excellent question. I thank my right honourable friend, and I'm afraid he is absolutely right in what he says, and he's also right to stress the particular urgency of the situation he's right in what he says about hybrid warfare and all the other interventions, but there is a particular crisis that we face on the border with Ukraine, where Russian troops have been massing for some time, as the House knows, and I told President Putin on Monday what I think everybody in the G7 and more widely is agreed, that if Russia were so rash, so mad as to engage in an invasion of sovereign territory of Ukraine, then there would be an extremely tough package of economic sanctions mounted by our allies, mounted by the UK and our friends around the world. There would also, of course, be support for Ukraine. There would inevitably be the build-up of NATO forces in the periphery regions, and as I told President Putin, I believe any such action would be catastrophic, not just for Russia and for Ukraine, for the world.
I call on Russia to de-escalate, to pursue diplomatic channels, and to abide by its international commitments. Conflicts must be solved peacefully. There's a whole set of economic sanctions in place, targeting the financial and energy sector, dual-use goods and defense. Our response to any further aggression may take the form of a robust scaling up and expansion of these existing sanctions. And of course, we are ready to take additional, unprecedented measures with serious consequences for Russia.
About Iraq, what they said was the trigger. They said it was the weapons of mass destruction. They invaded the country, they destroyed it, they created a hotbed of international terrorism, and then they said, oh, sorry. Reconnaissance, intelligence gave us some bad results, That was because of poor reconnaissance. Well, it turned out there were no weapons of mass destruction. It had been destroyed. What about Syria? Did they ever ask for any sanction from the UN Security Council? No, they do what they want to do. What they're currently doing in Ukraine, what they're planning to do in Ukraine, that's not thousands of kilometers away from our borders. No, that's right near our home.